Hang on a second, guys. I'm just trying to find the commentary right now. I'm literally trying to find commentary right now and I literally can't find anything. Just try this link, and if this doesn't work, then alright. I'm gonna try this last thing. Hopefully this works this time. Page cannot be displayed. Yeah, it doesn't work for some reason. I'm just going to enable everything because apparently I have something not enabled that should be. Let's try that. No. Hopefully this link works. Why is it black? I'm trying to find the link while I stream right now. Well, I've got an idea. Why doesn't it work? I just can't find anything. Right, let me try YouTube and try other people's streams and see if they've got something with commentary on. That might actually work. Your untold travel, what he's got, that's what I'm trying to get out, but it won't let me access the site he's on. This guy's got the actual stream, but it's got no commentary. That guy's not even streaming thing, he's streaming Fortnite. No. It's the last link. Click here and just try this one, and if it doesn't work, then wait, no, that's the wrong thing. And now I need to start my thing so I can get it perfect. This does work. How's this gonna work? If I do this should work. No, because you can't really see that one. So if I turn the thing the other side, that should be perfect. Then if we put this more in the middle. I can't find any commentary, so that's what we're going to have to do for now. Then when it's half time, I'll try and find some commentary thing during that time. But at least you can sort of see what's happening in the game. You can see like what player has the ball and where they have the ball. And you can see the score in the minute. So it's best I can do right now. You can sort of see my shadow in the background as well. It's a bit blurry, I think. So if you move it, that's right. Yeah, that's the best I can do. if I put my thing on charge so it doesn't die mid-thing. That should be good. Now I'm just going to get a live sub count on my PC so I can see if anyone's subscribing and stuff. I might change my title of my stream because it's not really commentary, so it's kind of clickbait, so people may dislike. So I'll change that as well whilst I'm getting this up. So if you type the name. We're one sub away from 500 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, that would be much appreciated. So what was I going to do? Alright, let me go on YouTube and my channel and then I can change the thing. This might go off quick for a second actually. The thing that I'm on, it might go off. I don't know. But let me change the title of my stream so I can get known that by the people in the comments saying it's clickbait. Why am I not signed in, mate? I'm on the Internet Explorer, not Chrome, that's probably why. But is that why the entire time it hasn't been working? Don't tell me. No, it's not signed into my phone. Why wouldn't it let me change the title of my own stream? Well, I know. If I go on my channel, on subscriptions, and then it may come up with my channel. I don't know. All it says is add to playlist and watch later. Well, that is actually quite bad to be fair. Right, let's move it. Right, no, I need to go this way. Bit close. You can sort of see it a bit. It's not really that good, is it? Yeah. Like the quality, you can't really see the player's name. Let me just do that, maybe that will help. I recognise the players that have the ball, but I probably wouldn't be able to tell. I think it's a bit bad now anyway. I can tell it says like Andre Woodson, Richard Keane, Craig Bryson, Harry Wilson. Yeah, I can sort of tell who's got the ball and stuff. Right. So if I need to change the title. I do not want people to dislike it. Oh, here we are, I found it now. Now I should be able to change it. No, it doesn't. Well, it's got to be a setting on the actual thing I'm streaming on that says... No, it's not. Is it worth restart? Actually, I don't think it's worth restarting the stream, to be completely honest. Let me just move that. Well, if we move that forward, that's perfect, I think. No, that didn't even make a difference. I'm just gonna go like that and hope for the best. Wait, just do that. It's a little bit to the side. That's like sort of better. It won't let me change stream time. Wait, edit video. Maybe that works. Wait, it's loading. Can I change the title? Yes, I can change the title. And call it like live stats score update. Live. call it live score updates. I don't know. I think it's saved the change. Maybe I can add a link, a stream link in the description that someone else has got on their YouTube. I don't know. Wedding. Filter live. Do they not have that on PC? Oh no, they're doing them on blind. Don't think that has a link. No, it definitely doesn't have a link. Same string. Here we go. Copy. Then got on the same thing as I did a second ago. Now I can put a link in the description for the game. So if you want to watch it instead of doing this, then you can. You want to paste. Call it. Link to the link for the game. Colon. Hopefully that works. Wait, we can change the thing. Exclamation mark. Save changes. Right, added the link, but didn't add the thing I just added. Oh no, it did, never mind. Just a bit delayed, I think. Now I'll try and find some commentary again. Surely someone might. It's just probably because it's the championship, it's not like the Premier League or a top division. Once next week I will be doing Premier League probably, because I'll actually be commentary. I'll probably do one next Friday for Leicester. I'll do one tomorrow, Sunday and Monday for the games. Tomorrow I'll probably do one at 12:30 and then 3 o'clock, and then I think there's a game at 5:30. And then tomorrow, not Sunday, I'll do, I don't know who it is, I think it's like Stoke playing on, so Stoke v Leeds, I think, I don't know. And then Monday it's Hull Aston Villa, I believe. So I'll do a stream for all of them. Hopefully I can find commentary. No. Let's try Sky Sports, because I think they may have. No, they won't have commentary. Let's just type in live commentary. That's Sky Sport. BBC Sport, that doesn't work. Sportsmail.co.uk. Yeah, it's the exact same thing as Sky Sports. What they're doing, they're not even paying commentary. They're just doing just paying updates of what's happening. Just try this. No, because that says 2017. Let's not try that one. Let's try this one. Right, I may have sussed out how to do the commentary thing now. So if we try it, she almost sussed out 5 minutes before half time, but yeah, see that works now. And hopefully, yeah, Reading versus Derby.
So there's doors out there.
And with you. Yeah, there we go. I think this is the exact same thing, but maybe better. We've got the thing up, but I don't know if there's commentary or not. Please install Flash. I've already installed that. If you refresh the page, it might work. Is it because my sound's down? Sound's on. Wait, that's down. Where's my other sound? That's on full. So it should be working. Turn that up full. Play that. For some reason the commentary doesn't work. I've got what I want on. I've got that thing on, but great, I'll get it on this, and then it'll be even better. Refresh the page, it should work. Yeah, it's working on the phone now. Wait, it might work. Wait, here we go. Oh yeah, we got the commentary.
They do have options to Reading.
Yeah, they certainly do. You can understand why Paul Clement plumped with Bob Larson, because he's more of a focal point to the other two as Reading come forward again.
Luco, right hand side of the area, goes for goal, and it's not the worst of efforts. Tried to loft it, left-footed, bend it up towards the top left-hand corner to the right of Scott Carson. But in the end, it's harmlessly over the bar, but a good break. And once again for Reading, Mo Barrow involved in the move.
Yeah, he's been outstanding in this first half. Aluko's been a little bit quieter, but he's played well as he cut the ball in onto his favoured left foot. Could see from a mile off what he was trying to do, curl it towards that top corner. It's unstoppable when he gets the connection right, but unfortunately, he just blazed it over the bar this time.
2 minutes added on then at the end of this first half. Reading 0, Derby 0. Long ball forward for Nugent to try and get on the end of. I should say. He did well. Knocks it down for Andre Wisdom. His pass isn't great, but Wilson does well. Nugent now, right-hand side, brings the ball under control, shifts it back into the feet of Joe Ledley, who we've hardly mentioned at all in this opening 45. Wisdom very nearly caught on the ball, showed a little bit too much to Mo Barrow, but does well to retain possession. Now out on the right-hand side with Bryson, shifting it back to Keogh, and any sort of pace that was in that Derby move very quickly withered away. Decent ball though from Ledley into Mount. Now Bryson tries to roll the ball away from David Myler, who uses his experience, but then a poor clearance from him allows Wisdom to attempt to loft the ball in, deflects off Omar Richards, and out of play for a Derby corner.
Yeah, good chance for Derby to take the lead before half-time, which would be richly undeserved, you'd have to say. Again, a little bit desperate defending from Reading, just trying to hack the ball out. Myler losing his balance and his clearance, just couldn't get the distance on it. It'll be Harry Wilson to take this corner.
Left-footed in, swinging from the right-hand side. It's high, it's hanging in towards Keogh, who headers it back into the mix. Not the best of headers by Swift. And then a high, hanging clearance from David Myler. It's headed back forward by a Derby man inside the Reading half. It falls here to Lawrence, who goes down under the challenge of Mo Barrow. Lawrence, just as he was about to pull the trigger, felt the leg of Barrow, went down to ground. It didn't seem particularly intentional, to be fair, from Barrow, who's right behind, just trying to close him down. And as Lawrence swings, he kicks Mo Barrow and goes down.
Yeah, again, you can say it's clever play from Tom Lawrence, positioning his body really well so that Mo Barrow had to make the challenge on him. And, well, we've played the last 2 minutes of additional time, so this will be the last kick of the first half. Lawrence and Wilson stood over it. It probably favours the left foot of Harry Wilson a little bit more because it's further on the right-hand side. But Tom Lawrence, you can see him looking straight at that goal. He looked confident for this one.
Yeah, good opportunity this. It's maybe 4 or 5 yards outside the penalty area, slightly to the right of centre, as Dan says, probably favours the left foot of Wilson to bend it up and over, but Lawrence may well want to go for power here. It's Wilson who steps up, it's over the wall, it's over the bar, and that may well be, and it is, the first half over and done with as well. So Frank Lampard's side in control, but not creating the chances that they'd like. Reading doing well and well in the game. At half-time, it's 0-0.
Well, it is half time now, so I mean.
At half-time, it's Reading 0, Derby 0, and while Frank Lampard's Derby might have dominated possession, it's Reading who've dominated the chances created so far. On the 5th minute, Richard Keogh presented the ball to John Swift, who tried to play John Bodvarsson into the ball.
So it is half time now, so 0-0. It's the score. If you want to come back in about 15 minutes time, I will be hopefully still doing the stream. So if you want to come back in 15 minutes for the second half, then I will be doing the exact same thing as I was doing for the last 5 minutes, because I finally figured out a way to get the commentary.
Just missed Swift. Derby haven't created anything. It's still all to play for. Currently goalless. At half-time, it's Reading 0, Derby 0, and while Frank Lampard's Derby might have dominated possession.
Oh, he's just repeating himself, so I'll just turn that down and put that there. The only issue is that if I'm not like touching my phone like every 30 seconds, it will go like off automatically. That's the only issue I've got. What I could do is move it over. I could go on my PC and do the exact same thing. I don't think it works on my PC. It says log interview. Oh no, never mind. Just all the commentary one. And my dog. Dog. Right, once I've installed Flash Player on my PC, I should be able to move over to there, so the quality is a bit better than it is at where it was in the first half. Right, Flash Player's just downloaded on my things. Hopefully we can make the quality a bit better than it was in the first half. Half finished about just over 5 minutes ago, so if you are in the stream and you're quite bored, just come back in about 10 minutes time and the game should have restarted for the second half. And also, if you are still in the stream, make sure to subscribe because I will be doing this throughout the season for loads of the matches in the EFL and the Premier League, maybe like El Clasicos and derbies and big matches like Champions League matches, cup matches. So make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you get notified when I do start live streaming. Or you can just go on my channel when there's a big game and I probably will be live streaming. Flash players on about 43% now, so I'm just going to get a drink real quick and then hopefully it's done by when I get back. Told me to close Google Chrome, so I've lost the bet thing on my PC, but I'll get it back up when it's done. Finish. Says it's downloaded. What if we just load it on? I don't think it will work on Chrome. I think I have to do it on Internet Explorer. So it told me to close Google Chrome. Oh, it's still not working. Let me click on Get Started and it might work. Once this is loaded, it actually might work. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do it on my thing again. Which don't. It's telling me to install the Aurora. I've already installed it. Wait, I'll go back. Instead of doing that, I can just get the thing up on here and just use Commentry on my phone. That'll be much easier instead of just installing like Flashbang and stuff. Although I've already got it on here. We need to zoom in. I haven't used this in ages. Right, I figured out already. I'd say 200. And we need to move the thing and move it down. I'd say that's good. And if we move some stuff out, we'll move it over here a bit more. If we move the thing really close, like move it like that should work. And I've accidentally clicked on something. Just go back. Right, there we go. I'm going to get the commentary up now. Hopefully it's second half should have started. It's still done that repeating thing. I'll just put it down for now, it'll keep repeating itself, but shouldn't do for too long because the second half should be starting in like just under 5 minutes, hopefully.
Presented the ball to John Swift, who tried to play John Danny Bonvarson into the box. He poked outside of the foot finish, was well saved by Scott Carson. However, Mo Barrow's been very lively in this first half. Brilliant cross from him on the left-hand side, just missed Swift. Derby haven't created anything. Still all to play for, currently goalless. At half-time, it's Reading 0 and Derby 0. And while Frank Lampard's Derby might have dominated possession, it's Reading who dominated the chances created so far. On the 5th minute, Richard Keogh presented the ball to John Swift, who tried to play John Danny Bonvarson into the box. He poked outside of the foot finish, was well saved by Scott Carson. However, Mo Barrow's been very lively in this first half. A brilliant cross from him on the left-hand side, just missed Swift. Derby haven't created anything. Still all to play for, currently goalless. At half-time, it's Reading 0 and Derby 0. And while Frank Lampard's Derby might have dominated possession, it's Reading who dominated the chances created so far. On the 5th minute, Richard Keogh presented the ball to John Swift, who tried to play John Danny Bonvarson into the box. He's poked outside of the foot finish.
Well, I'm just going to turn this off because it actually is quite annoying, to be honest. Right, second half started. As soon as I turn it off, the
game so far, it's currently Reading 0 at Derby County 0. An interesting game on many counts. Derby having the majority of the possession in that first half, but Frank Lampard's men really didn't create an awful lot with it. While Reading, on the other hand, were happy to just sit back, soak up pressure, and launch counter-attacks, and that did prove effective. The only thing that stopped them so far is them putting the ball in the back of the net, so it's still goalless. A finally poised second half. No changes made at the break as Reading win an early free kick on the right hand side, and the yellow card's going to come out once again for the 5th time. We've already seen 2 bookings apiece, Myler and Kelly for Reading and Wisdom and Bryson for Derby, and it's now going to be 3-2 to Derby in that respect because Max Lowe has picked up a very early booking in this second half. Reading with a chance from a free kick. It's myself, Dan McCarthy, and Jack Teaton taking you through the rest of this independent off-tube studio commentary. And Jack, Reading had the much better of it in the first half. Will probably feel they should have gone in ahead. Derby should come out in this second half thinking we can wipe the slate clean and play better in this second half. And already it looks like Reading will be on top because they've got this free kick.
That's exactly what I was about to say. They should come out and do more. They should come out and just try and not necessarily play football because that wasn't working in the first half, but do something a little bit different. You know, try and ask questions of Reading. They've not done that. They've not done enough of it. And to cut down the mistakes defensively, stop throwing yourselves into challenges and stop giving the ball away in your own half. They're thrown into a challenge and given a free kick away in a really good area.
Certainly half as well, it's a free kick on this right-hand side. A really poor delivery in, though, by Sonny Aluko. Has to be much better than that if they are to have more chances from those set pieces. And then they try and put a ball back in. Andre Wisdom's header back to Scott Carson. Nearly ran out for a corner kick, but Carson was able to gather it and look fairly composed as he was doing so. So just plays the ball out now to Davis. Now Max Lowe. Both of the Derby fullbacks on bookings now, so music to the ears, Barrow and Luco. Derby do come forward though. Here is Nugent, plays it back out to Tom Lawrence, whose ball into the box is lifted up, and it's headed into the back of the net. Oh, the flag has gone up for offside, it seems, against David Nugent. Well, that could have been a delightful start to this second half for Derby, as David Nugent did really well, actually, to get the necessary power to guide that header into towards goal, but he's comfortably offside.
Great decision by the assistant referee. I thought it was really bizarre goalkeeping, to be honest. It's a good delivery in. Decent header from Nugent down into the floor. But Vito Manone just seemed to fall. He headed it down and it bounces relatively high, but you'd expect Manone to save it. But that's more promising from Derby. It's their first real clear-cut chance, I think you'd have to say. And David Nugent, fox in the box. You know, you get those crosses in, and if he can get in between defenders, that's what he will do. He will get shots off. He will test the goalkeeper, and that's got to be a warning shot for Reading, not to switch off, to keep the discipline as they did, because the defensive line was good, which is why Nugent had to stray offside. So I think it's not too bad a thing from a Reading perspective, because they did the job well. But for Derby, they've got to take that and think, you know what, we can take this.
Yeah, they certainly can. Certainly a lot more hope for them now that they've had that goal chalked off, of course. If Nugent had have just timed his run a little bit better, he could have maybe done something with it, although he might not have got on the end of that cross. As he's such an experienced customer at this level, Nugent, 33 years old now, so certainly getting to the wrong side of his career, but still a huge asset at championship level. And Derby do have a good player on their hands, although how much game time he'll get this season might depend on how Jack Marriott slots in to the Derby lineup. Big signing from Peterborough United, a step up for him, not in the squad tonight, but you'd imagine he'll be someone who Lampard will call upon as Reading have to throw it. Play it back now to Omar Richards. Looks for a long ball up towards Bodvarsson. Carson, well, he came out there. There was a real lack of communication between him and Richard Keogh. Carson sprinted out of his box and just cleared it straight into touch.
It's so strange because a Derby defence with the experience that they've got, the likes of Keogh, Davis, Carson, even Andre Wisdom's been around for a bit, you know, even though he's still relatively young, he's got that experience. To say that they are as experienced as they are, their lack of discipline and just general sort of know-how and nous, it's just gone completely. They don't seem to know what to do. It's crazy. He's obviously tried to build an experienced defence and push from there, but they look at sixes and sevens all the time. Every time Reading go forward, and even when Reading don't, even when it's just Derby on the ball, it looks like they're going to make a mistake and do something daft. And you know, we've seen it a few times so far and they've not been punished. Against a better side, or should I say a more clinical side, that's the right way to phrase it. Against a more clinical side, I think Derby could have been 3-4-0 down here, because it's just defensive discipline and lapses in concentration that you don't expect your really experienced players that Derby have got at the back to be doing. You expect so much better.
Yeah, perhaps it might be a little bit premature to say this, but we've got the transfer deadline day on Thursday coming up. You think maybe Frank Lampard might be looking for a centre-half?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Martin Waghorn coming in as a centre-forward, but David Nugent's not touched the ball as a centre-forward. That's not where this team needs to strengthen. They are still knitted together. They are still trying to figure each other out. But I completely agree that defensively, I think they are lacking something. Yes, you've got experience in Keogh and Davis. And Davis, I think, is a very good player. Richard Keogh, I'm not sure on as a defender. Andre Wisdom as a fullback, I'm unsold as, really. I think he was better suited as a centre-half, and then he was moved out to that right-back position. I think that they need something different. You know, they've got experience, yes. I don't think Richard Keogh's got much quality. And I said it right at the beginning when he made his mistake. I think that he's got too many errors in him. And for a side that want to go and challenge and a side that want to go and do something, they don't need that. However, do they have the money to be able to plough more cash in? They've spent nearly £9 million already this summer, and it was a team that, didn't have much money at the beginning of the summer. So unless Matija Vitra goes for the 11 million quoted, I don't know how much more they're going to be able to invest.
Yeah, there was, as Reading put a ball into the box and it's headed in. A bullet header from John Daddy Bodvarsson has put Reading ahead, exactly what they've deserved in this game. A wonderful ball swung into the box. Reading take the lead.
What a cross it was from Mo Barrow. Full credit to the winger. It's a lovely delivery and to the left-hand side. It might have been Sonny Aluko actually on his left foot. Wonderful delivery. It's Bodvarsson who starts the whole move off on halfway. And unlike in the first half when he didn't bust a gut to get into the area, this time he does. Makes his way up at the back post. It is Mo Barrow who puts the ball in. Lovely delivery, and Bodvarsson in as the target man. Great header into the corner. No chance for Carson.
Reading take the lead against Derby. It's 1-0 and it's richly deserved, and it's John Daddy Bodvarsson who's got the goal. He started the move by winning the ball in the middle of the park. The ball eventually found its way to Mo Barrow, who's been outstanding in this game, put a lovely ball into the box, and the Icelandic forward with a bullet header into the back of the net. You can't accuse him of going missing.
Let me just start the stream back a bit better. And then maybe that'll be a bit better. Let's just leave it like that. I'll put the commentary back on. Sorry about that. It's just people keep on leaving and joining. I think it's a bit messed up.
So far his side have just lacked that little bit of cutting edge, and they've not looked like they've got any other ideas other than to try and pass the ball around and get themselves into those areas of the pitch by playing it along the floor. He's a very, very smart guy. We said this earlier on. Let's see how good his tactical mind is. Let's see what substitutions he makes during this game, because that's what he will be judged on, is his changes and what he does to matches and how he adapts matches to try and win them. So far we've not seen that adaptation in terms of tactics. Are we going to see it in terms of substitutions?
Well, looking at the options he's got on the bench, we mentioned Florian Josef Soon, who probably would be the first go-to option, signed for Brentford this summer. Mason Bennett, an attacker who seems to have been around for years just because he made his debut so early in his career. Luke Thomas is a decent youngster, but it's not probably the best bench, or certainly it won't be the best bench they'll have all season. There are a few players that are unavailable for selection tonight.
Well, I think even somebody like Bradley Johnson, who in midfield can kind of go wandering a little bit, but find himself in a good position, got a good shot from the edge of the penalty area. I don't think we can rule him out. You mentioned Mason Bennett. He had an unfortunate spell at Notts County last season, played 3 times, scored once, got injured and missed the whole of the season. He had his opportunity to go out on loan and unfortunately couldn't take it. And he's a player that, I think Frank Lampard still isn't decided on, but has got pace to burn. He's a good finisher as well. Similar sort of mould to David Nugent, but with a little bit more pace about him. So it's going to be interesting to see what changes he makes. I think Joseph Zoon is almost nailed on to come on. We've not seen anything of Harry Wilson, and Tom Lawrence hasn't done enough perhaps to stay on the pitch. So it's going to be interesting. I think we're not going to see these changes quite yet, but that goal may well.
Wait, why is it just gone off?
Held on from the way that the game's been going so far, but Reading won't care at all about Derby's tactics. They're 1-0 up in their first championship game of the season, and they get the victory tonight. They'll go top, albeit it'll mean very little at this stage of the season, but it's always nice to find yourself at the summit, and Reading really want to try and get back to where they were 2 seasons ago. Last year was a disaster, and the Yap Stam experiment, having initially worked so well, failed quite miserably last season. Just too many touches of the ball, too much possession, and not enough to show for it. They've brought in Paul Clement now, who appears to be delivering the goods, albeit once again at this very early stage of the season. But Derby have the ball yet again, but Wisdom forced to square it to Curtis Davis. Here is Richard Keogh, just drops his shoulder and looks to play a ball forward to David Nugent. Can only go back to Keogh. Now Davis. Davis infield to Mason Mount, who's, other than the first 10 minutes, has been very quiet.
Yeah, we've seen very little of him, but I think that's credit to the way that Reading have defended and set up. They've made it very difficult for that midfield three to have any sort of influence. They've almost outnumbered them, 5 in midfield as opposed to the 3 from Derby, so they've made it so difficult for them to do anything. They're coming forward now at Derby.
Yeah, the shot comes in. Oh, it'll fall to Harry Wilson in the box, and then it's taken by the broke in there, Joe Ledley. Well, it was just a little bit of a mess from a Derby point of view. The ball fell to Wilson. It looked like it came onto his left foot, but he miscontrolled it with his right foot, slipped on it, and then Ledley came forward. They almost got in each other's way, and that attack broke down.
Yeah, he sort of trapped it under his right foot and made it very difficult to then get it out of his feet and get any sort of shot on goal. It fell behind him to Joe Ledley, who was on the stretch and couldn't quite gather it either. So, but better from Derby. Craig Bryson it was who initially went forward and got himself into that decent position. So it's better from Derby. It's still got a long way to go though, and they've still not tested Manone, really, who from his time at Sunderland, he's not the greatest of shot stoppers. Get some shots off. Craig Bryson's got a good drive on him. Mason Mount has got a good strike. So why not get into those areas 30 yards out, test the goalkeeper, have an effort?
And it's an area 30 yards out from their own goal they're going to have to be mindful of now. Free kick about to be whipped into the box from the left-hand side. The right foot of Liam Kelly stood over it, as well as Sonny Aluko if they chose to go down that route as well. But Kelly has shown on a couple of occasions he's good with set pieces, although that occasion doesn't show it. And now Derby can launch a counter-attack. Here comes Tom Lawrence, but he's ran into a cul-de-sac, and Liam Kelly and Aluko are around him. They're begging for Liam Kelly to be sent off here at the Derby players because he did make the challenge. I think what's going to save him is the fact that it was so close to the touchline and there was cover around it. But it's a bit of a poor challenge from Kelly, and that might just creep into Paul Clement's mind. Maybe he's on a booking, he's made a silly challenge, let's get him off before he gets himself sent off.
Yeah, I think if he'd not have been carded already, he probably would have been for that. It's not a good challenge. He sort of just leaves a leg out and swings through. It's not malicious, it's more mistimed, but he made sure that Lawrence went down. But completely agree, it may well be one that the manager looks at, doesn't want to risk him, and wants to bring him off.
Oh, and the drive comes in. Oh, and Manone! What a terrible bit of goalkeeping that was. It's Mason Mount. Shoots from distance with his left foot, and it's straight into the back of the net. And from absolutely nothing, Derby are back on level terms.
Well, I hate to say I told you so. A drive from 25 yards down to the right-hand side of Manone, who I said just test him from range, and you will get the better of him. And that's exactly what they've done. It's come out of absolutely nowhere. It's driven forward from Keogh, sort of falls to Bryson, rolls it out to Mount, who has a sighter, and it's a howler from Manone. He has to save that. It's to his right-hand side. It's not even a full stretch. You can't give the goalkeeper much credit at all. It bounces just in front of him, perhaps the only let-off. Goalkeeper should save it. Derby on level terms.
Derby are back on level terms, and it's a moment that goalkeeper Vito Manone will not want to see again. They had the ball in midfield. Bryson just squared a little ball to Mason Mount, who with his left foot decided to unleash one from about 30 yards out. It wasn't exactly a brilliant strike. It bounced just in front of Vito Manone, but he should be saving them, and it squirmed underneath his body and nestled into the back of the net. Derby have got a goal out of absolutely nothing and are back on level terms. It's one apiece.
And again for Derby County now, arguably when you've seen that, when you've gone into that sort of position, had a shot and caused the keeper problems, their number one aim should be to keep getting forward and testing him again. And the forward here, now it's Wilson, right side of the penalty area, rolls it across for Lawrence, just ever so slightly too far ahead of him. It was Mount, the goal scorer, arriving at the back post, just overhit by Harry Wilson. But Reading looked to have been completely shocked here. As Derby went forward, there were no Reading midfielders getting back. It was just the bank of 4 defenders up against 5 or 6 Derby County players pushing forward. This time the pass just a little bit too far ahead of Mount, who was unable to get a shot at goal. But Reading looks shell-shocked, and they've got to be careful here. They've got to ride these next 5-10 minutes out. Otherwise, you know, they could potentially concede again.
Yeah, because they're going to be absolutely kicking themselves if they don't get maximum points from this game. And well, we just mentioned Mason Mount's been quiet, but he's certainly not quiet anymore. 14 goals he scored in the Eredivisie last season, which for a midfielder is really good going. might not be the strongest of leagues in Europe, but it's still, for a young player to go abroad in his teens still and take a league by storm, it really is impressive work from him. And now he's got his first goal in English football for Derby County, as now they look to try and get on the front foot against Reading, and for the first time in the game really put Reading under lots of pressure, because even in the few moments after Reading's goal, Reading were still looking like the better side, and Derby have just been handed a gift.
Yeah, and they do look a little bit shell-shocked here to Reading, you know, the hashing at the ball, the lashing it straight out of play, just trying to do anything they can to not quite calm it down, but just to get it away from their own goal. And I think for Vito Manone, it's an absolute howler for him. But now it's even more important for Reading to be cutting these passes out and not allowing the ball to fall 25 yards out. They've done a really good job of doing it up to maybe about 5-10 minutes ago when we saw Bryson in that sort of area and then the ball fall into Mount for the goal. So for Reading, they've got to keep their heads, they've got to be able to get through this next 5-10 minutes, not quite allow the pressure, but allow themselves to soak it up a little bit and go back to the game plan that they had before. Last season, Reading went into the lead a few times in games and crumbled and lost the game by 2-3 goals even. They've got to be really careful they don't do the same here, because Derby do have the tails up, they want to go for it, and Reading have got to defend against that.
Yeah, it's going to be a real test of their resolve, you feel, because it's now the first bit of adversity they've faced in the game, although that's an awful clearance from Andre Wisdom. He's bailed out by his opposite fullback, Max Lowe, who just smacks the ball into touch. But again, that should give Reading, as it has done all game, real confidence for the fact that Derby look very shaky at the back and look like they're still almost in pre-season.
Yeah, completely. And we've spoken, I think you said it earlier on, right at the beginning of the match, about Derby not just sort of trying to do a certain game plan, that Frank Lampard shouldn't come in and try and enforce a game plan on a group of players who can't do it. If there's one thing that has been evident in this game, it's that Derby's back four struggle to pass the ball out from the back. You've got to have Craig Bryson sitting in, doing like what Jonathan Hogg does for Huddersfield Town, sitting in between those back two to take the ball off them and go forward, rather than allow your centre-halves to try and play hospital passes and try and link the play up. That's not working for Derby County. Get Craig Bryson in to bring the ball out and play out from there. It's crazy stuff, really, from Derby, and I think Frank Lampard will want to adjust his side going forward. However, they've got 25 minutes here to continue to push themselves forward and to try and get themselves a winner, because I think there's still at least one more goal in this game.
Yeah, it certainly looks like there is, and it could be for Reading as they break into the box now. That's surely a handball from John Daddy Bodvarsson. He looked like he leant into it, but nothing given by the referee as Derby eventually clear it out for a throw-in. There is a man down for Reading, sort of just outside the box. It's John Swift, and he's getting himself back up to his feet now, although it does look a little bit uncomfortable. Limping away from the challenge quite gingerly, to be honest, so I'll have to keep an eye on his progress as just look at some of the options Reading have at their disposal. Mark McNulty, second only to Mo Salah for top goal scorers in 2018. It's not bad company, even though it might be 3 divisions lower, and well, he's a player they've taken a punt on. £500,000 I think they paid for him, which is nothing in this day and age. Can he do it in the Championship?
I watched a lot of him last season in League Two, and he's a very good player at that level. He was far and away too good. But then I think back to when he was at Bradford in League One, and he didn't really, do anything for Sheffield United. He didn't really do anything. And Reading have gone, right, you're the sort of player we want. You're in form. Okay, I get that. He's still relatively young, I suppose, but it's a big risk. The only way I think it would work is if McNulty was working off another striker. He did that very well last year with BMU at Coventry. He has to be in the same sort of relationship. So I'd be interested, because it looks like Reading are going to bring Sam Baldock on. I think if you had McNulty and Baldock up front, that's a handful. If you have just McNulty up front, it's difficult. And if you have just Baldock up front, he needs to have that support. He needs to have John Swift working with him, not up against him, or even have Bodvarsson up there with him. So it's an interesting sort of dynamic that they're going to have to wrestle with. It's going to be interesting to see who Baldock comes on for here.
Yeah, it's almost like Baldock's a player who's almost fallen victim to modern football, because we don't see too many teams line up with 2 strikers. He is going to come on for John Swift. Whether or not that's because of the injury he's picked up, he's not walking off the pitch looking like he's injured too much, so it might just be a straight tactical swap for Paul Clement. But we're now going to see two strikers on the pitch for Reading, and they should really try and pepper Derby's goal now.
Yeah, it plays right into the hands, I think, of Sam Baldock, because the defence will be focused on Bodvarsson because of the way that Reading have played. They'll put all their attention on the big striker, which will allow Baldock to try and get in between the lines, get into that space, and be able to unleash himself on the game.
Yeah, here comes Craig Bryson trying to scamper forward, and the ball just clips off the corner flag, and it will be a corner now for Derby. So again, probably using the height advantage for this set piece. Plenty of big men coming up from the back and in midfield, and it will be Wilson to take the corner, who has got more involved in this game as it's gone on, although still probably does need to do a little bit more. What can he do with this left foot from the set piece? Whips it to the far post. Reading do win the header. Hand's gone down in that, and then they can get the clearance. It will be, well, it won't be Baldock's first touch, as Bryson wins the ball. Baldock actually gave away a free kick against him. Referee's just messing about a little bit, really. Just waiting for players to get back to their positions. It's actually been played all the way back now to Manoni. Whistle must have gone earlier in the move.
Yeah, it was as the corner came over, it was sort of headed away by Reading, and Bodvarsson it was who hooked the ball away, and he was just caught late by Tom Lawrence, just jumped into him. Nothing more than that, and that's why there was confusion. Derby thought they'd won themselves a free kick. Obviously, the referee had other ideas.
It's still Reading 1 at Derby 1, and there's no doubt that the momentum is now with Derby after getting that horror equalising goal from a Reading point of view. They had a really good opportunity when Harry Wilson, cutting in from the right-hand side, clipped a lovely ball with his left foot into the box. It just skidded past Mason Mount, however. He couldn't control it and try and get another strike away. Both sides have made one change. Reading have brought on Sam Baldock for John Swift. John Swift went down looking like he was injured a few moments before, but this one might be tactical instead. They've now got two up front, and Derby are just about to make a change themselves. Joe Ledley has gone off, and on in his place is Bradley Johnson.
Interesting change, bringing on Bradley Johnson. I was talking him up earlier on as a player that will come in, and I don't think he'll play sort of just in front of the back four, but he will look to get himself forward. Can play long balls relatively well, former Leeds United man. He'll be eager to stamp his authority on this game that's got just over 20 minutes still to play. Tom Lawrence is once again penalised. This time it's for a handball, and it's maybe his fourth or fifth infringement. I'm surprised that he's not found himself in the book yet either.
Perhaps not. Well, we've got just over 20 minutes of the game to go. It's all set up for a grandstand finish, and it'll be Jack to take you through to full time.
Yeah, let's hope we get at least one more goal. Ball forward into the penalty area. Keogh happy to header it away at the first time of asking. Paul McShane's attempted ball forward is poor, and Derby will look to counter-attack. Tom Lawrence's ball is pretty aimless, I should say. It's almost like a 40-20 in rugby. Don't know how to play for a throw-in on the far right-hand side. Jody Morris instructing a substitute down the line. 2 minutes until you come on. Not sure which one it is. You can't see from our pictures. It's either one of Mason Bennett or Florian Josephsoon. We will see in the next couple of minutes exactly which one or both that's going to be. The two of them have been warming up for a considerable amount of time, but whichever one comes on or both, it shows that Derby are going to go for it in the last 20 minutes.
I am a little bit surprised, actually, that Josephsoon didn't start. I've not seen Derby in pre-season, but when he signed, I remember seeing some of Lampard's quotes saying that he was one of his top targets to bring in from Brentford. So the way that he talked him up, you'd have thought that he was a player that would have been a nailed-on starter. He's gone with Wilson in that wide right position instead, who hasn't really done it. So you'd feel that he's going to get at least 15 minutes to show what he can do.
And the difference has perhaps been that Wilson and Lawrence have spent almost all of pre-season together. Josephsoon was a late entry into the pre-season party at the iPro, so perhaps that's why he's been kept off for now. Opportunity maybe for Reading. Ball's lofted in towards the back. He's been kept off for now. Opportunity maybe for Reading. Ball's lofted in towards the back. Kept off for now. Opportunity maybe for Reading. Ball's lofted in towards the back post over the top of it.
Just like that, I think Yeadham's escaped with it, just a little bit mistimed. And with the game, free kick.
One ball forward then from Carson. It's going to be over the top of Nugent, unable to win the header. Brought down by Bodvarsson, but he gives it away, and now they'll come forward here. Will Derby with Mason Mount tries to knock it forward towards Nugent, dealt with by Reading, and then Bodvarsson will knock it into a Luco. Now out with Kelly, who tries to play a ball from left to right, about 40-50 yards, but he's dealt with. And Reading will recycle possession and look to come forward with David Myler, who I think we've mentioned at all really in this second half. His long ball forward is headed away by Andre Wisdom. And out of play for a throw-in in front of the Reading dugout on this near left-hand side for Reading. We are going to see the first change then. It's Mason Bennett who's coming on for David Nugent. So, like-for-like change. Bennett, as I said earlier, there were still questions about his future, whether he was going to be sent out on loan once again this season. It seems like he's featuring in Frank Lampard's plans because he's come on and perhaps they will look to put him on the shoulder of the last defender and just hope that he can get himself forward. He is on the ball immediately here, rolls it into the feet of Lawrence, who's got Mount on the overlap, sees the ball through the middle. I think it was Bradley Johnson perhaps who was bursting into the penalty area. Davies will then hook it away and out of play, but Derby looking to go for it. Just over 15 minutes still to play.
Yeah, just throwing a little bit more pace into the mix now with Mason Bennett, and you'd feel maybe from his point of view, we have mentioned that he made his first team debut when he was very, very young, but it's, I believe now his 7th, 8th, maybe 9th season in professional football. He has to try establish himself at Derby, otherwise he may as well leave permanently, and obviously Jack Marriott's waiting in the wings. If they sign Martin Waghorn, it won't exactly be too promising for him, as Reading are going to make another change as well. And maybe a bit of a surprise, John Daddy Bodvarsson coming off and Yaku Meta coming on in his place. So from what I've seen, he's more of a wide player, so maybe they're just reverting back to one up front and maybe accepting the point, which seems bizarre considering they've been the better side for most of the game.
Yeah, it kind of gives them a few options really. Meta might go out towards the right-hand side, allow Sonny Aluko to come in and play up front, or maybe put Aluko in behind Baldock. Either way, it's an interesting change that Paul Clement has made with 15 minutes to go. Both sides making changes within a minute of each other. Perhaps a reactive change from Paul Clement. Maybe one that was in his mind for a while. Meta seems to have come across to the sort of left-hand side. I think he's sitting in behind Baldock, as Wisdom uses his strength to outmuscle Mo Barrow, who is definitely still in the wing position out on the near side. There was then a tussle off the ball between McShane and Bennett. The referee, well, has he seen it? I think he may well have done. He's called McShane across to have a word with the Reading captain, who isn't very happy at all with the decision. I don't know what there was in it, to be honest. McShane actually seems to hold Bennett, who does jump and allows himself to go to ground relatively easily, but you can understand McShane's frustration, shall we say.
Yeah, it did look a little bit of a soft challenge with Mason Bennett trying to come on and make an impression. He's already had a couple of decent touches of the ball. It's safe to say that other than the disallowed goal, we didn't see enough of David Nugent throughout that 75 minutes he was on the pitch, so we'll see what Mason Bennett can do.
Curtis Davies attempts to loft a ball forward, and he was in towards the penalty area, but Omar Richards, who had no support around him and had Derby players circling, he's headed the ball out of play for a corner that Harry Wilson will come across and take. The Liverpool loanee, he's had a relatively quiet 76 minutes thus far. He'll take this left-footed, in-swinging, right arm in the air, lofts it in towards the back post. Manone comes, gets nowhere near it. Andre Wisdom gets there, but couldn't fathom a real shot at goal, sort of bounced off him, allowed Manone to come and punch it away. Derby recycled possession, though. Wisdom knocks it into Lawrence, who goes for goal right-footed, but this time Manone happy to watch it wide of his post, but Tom Lawrence has had a couple of sort of opportunities in that sort of area. It's to the left of centre, looked up, tried to catch Manone off guard, but kicked the ball into the floor and comfortably wide.
Yeah, he does love a shot from distance, does Tom Lawrence, and he just hasn't been accurate enough with them this evening. He's not really had too much of an effective game, but again, that's what Derby need to try and do, get the shots away from distance. We've seen Vito Manone have a real howler so far, and even though he kind of, I think, knew that was going wide, he still scampered across, maybe just a little bit of fear inside him that he's going to concede another one like that.
Now, David Myler has gone in here on Harry Wilson. The referee is going across. It's a bit of a coming together between Myler and Wilson. Myler now having a conversation with Wilson. There's a array of players surrounding the referee. Derby, I think, are relatively upset with the fact that Myler hasn't received a second yellow card, and to be honest, I'm relatively surprised because it was a bit wild from Myler. Well, to be fair, he'd let the ball get past him, and he's sort of running towards Wilson. He pulls out of the challenge, really does Myler. Wilson goes down, clipped by the left foot of Myler, but it's one of those that Derby will look at and think, probably similar to the Liam Kelly one earlier on, that maybe the referee should have had his yellow card out for a second time for that player.
Yeah, I think the fact that he slowed himself down kind of saved him from going in the book once again there. Derby with a free kick from the right-hand side.
Yeah, 40 yards out. Wilson whips it in, headed away by McShane. Back forward at the first time asking by Bryson, then lofted a little bit further over by Lowe, but will be picked up, collected, and then dispatched quickly by Manone. Well won back, though, immediately by Derby. Andre Wisdom turns on halfway, plays the ball backwards to Keogh, who will loft a decent ball out towards the left-hand side, just ever so slightly too far for Bradley Johnson to get on the end of. Goes out of play for a throw-in. Wales manager Ryan Giggs is in attendance this evening, watching Harry Wilson, Tom Lawrence, just getting a look at his players in action. Reading just trying to bring the ball back under play, but sort of the last 10 minutes or so, really, probably since the Bradley Johnson substitution, if we timestamp it, as it were, it's all got scrappy. It's a lot of long balls. The sort of possession-based play that we saw earlier on has dissipated, really. And it's two teams that are battling, jostling, but not quite creating, I think.
Yeah, I think Reading have fallen a little bit off a cliff since they conceded the equaliser, to be honest. We've not seen them be anywhere near as dangerous as they were in the first half, and I think that's partly down to the fact that Derby have kind of brushed themselves together a little bit. They're a lot more composed with the ball, not giving it away as much, and they're using the wide areas much better. Having said that, Richard Keogh's just given a ball away again, although that's not quite as glaring an error as the first two in the first half.
Yeah, not for the first time. Just trying to play a ball through the middle, and Reading very happy to nip the ball away. And I'm sure a lot of clubs will look at Derby's defensive display. They've not done too much wrong in terms of from a defensive standpoint, but when they've been on the ball, which is what Frank Lampard wants his side to do, is to pass the ball out from the back, they've just not been good enough, have they? They've not looked like a team that are perhaps capable of passing the ball out from the back, as Reading look to come forward themselves. On this left-hand side, Mo Barrow looking to test this Derby defence, goes down under the challenge of Harry Wilson. Nothing given by the referee, as Kelly then tries to jinx away from Wilson, and perhaps a Derby counter-attack on the cards. Mason Bennett looking to pass the ball past McShane and chase it round, just eased off the ball though Bennett, maybe knocked it a little bit too far into the centre, which allowed Thiago Iori to come across and win the ball. Not the greatest of attempts really from Mason Bennett, maybe a little bit of naivety. It might have worked in League 2 last season, it's not going to work in the Championship.
Yeah, I think he should have spotted that Ilori was making a covering run. Had he not been there, I think he would have got round Paul McShane and be able to break to the byline. But yeah, just that little bit of inexperience from Mason Bennett, a little bit of over-eagerness has allowed Reading to get back hold of the ball.
Yeah, they won't have the opportunity to come forward now though, because it's Derby who've got a throw in right in front to manager Frank Lampard on this near right-hand side. But the ball is headed out of play for another Derby throw in. They probably move about 10 yards down the touchline. Andre Wisdom Comes across to take it once again. 81 minutes played, Reading 1, Derby 1. Independent off-tube studio commentary of the very first EFL game of the 2018-19 season. Lawrence turns, fires it back to Bradley Johnson, who's attempted first-time shot. I was talking him up earlier and said he's good at striking from long range. That's not one that's going to be in his highlight reel. Long way wide.
No, I don't think it is, and he can sometimes snatch at those because he's a player that he doesn't go for finesse, he goes for full laces, and when it comes off, they're hells of strikes, but when they don't, they usually end up near the corner flag. Fortunately for him, that's where it did end up.
Yeah, he's got a wonderful goal for Leeds United against Arsenal in the FA Cup, I think a good few years ago now. And that was one of those where it rolled back to him 30 yards out and he struck it wonderfully. That last effort, maybe not in the same sort of bracket. As Andre Wisdom brings the ball down for Derby anyway. Rolls it back to Curtis Davis, who goes back to Scott Carson, who's had less of the ball in this second half, unlike his centre-back Richard Keogh, who I think has probably touched the ball the most for Derby in the whole of the 82.5 minutes that we've seen so far. Here he is on the ball once again. Maybe middle of his own half, rolls it from right to left to Curtis Davis, who just kind of shrugged his shoulders there. He's swinging his arms, trying to figure out whether anybody's going to make a move. Keogh then returns it back to Davis. I've said that about 4 or 5 times so far in this commentary. And it's just been a little bit lapse from Derby in the way that when the two centre-backs have got the ball, there's very little movement in front of them.
Yeah, perhaps they are a little bit statuesque, and maybe you feel sorry for Keogh with Davis in that respect, but I think it comes from the fact that they're not the most cultured of centre-halves. They pick up the ball, they square it to their teammate, and then the teammate gets it and they think, oh, I don't know what to do with this, you have it back. It's just one of those things where I think if Lampard does want to adopt this passing style, he might need another centre-half.
And Lawrence has attempted crossing. It's a shot from Wilson at the back post. Wonderful save from Vito Manone. What a chance that was. It was an initial ball from Andre Wisdom from the right-hand side of the penalty area. Fell to Lawrence at the back post, who pulled it across. Paul McShane seemed to pull out, left it for Harry Wilson at the back post, and forced a good save out of Manone.
Time's running out for both Reading and Derby to try and get a winner in this game. It's still 1-1. It has become a little bit scrappy in the past 10 minutes or so. Both sides have made their third and final changes. Reading have made their third change of the game, bringing on Yaku Mehta for John Daddy Bodvarsson. Derby have made their second change, bringing on Mason Bennett for David Nugent. And Derby have just had a wonderful chance when a ball was whipped into the back post. It evaded all of Reading's defenders, and Harry Wilson at the back post struck it right-footed. But it was a great save from Vito Manone to carry it out. It's still Reading 1, Derby 1.
Yeah, the goalkeeper perhaps making up for his earlier misdemeanour, I think we should call it. And he probably should have saved the shot from Mason Mount that gave Derby County their goal. As we head towards the final 5 minutes of this game, Reading 1, Derby 1. Reading have made a change, incidentally. David Myler, who was walking on a tightrope that was on top of thin ice, I think, after a couple of his earlier challenges whilst being on a booking. He has been replaced by former Aston Villa man Leandro Bacuna. So just about as like for like as you can get, maybe more defensive, if anything. But Reading perhaps not only looking to play safe in the way that they wanted to get Myler off, as to avoid perhaps going down to 10 men, as well as maybe looking to shut up shop a little bit.
Yeah, perhaps so. I think David Myler was, like you say, walking that tightrope. It's sensible play from Paul Clement because he's got the like-for-like option in Leandro Bacuna. He's not quite as combative, but he's one that does tend to sit in midfield rather than venture forward and go missing. So a sensible change for Clement.
Reading fleetingly on the ball there, but given away by Mehta, which will allow Derby to come. And he saw rolls under his foot and out of play for a throw-in. Frank Lampard still stood on the touchline, hands in his pockets. Watching what's going on around him, I'm sure he'll still hold hope that his side could go and get themselves a winner. They do look the more likely of the two, but to be fair, neither of them are particularly guns blazing, going for it with just under 4 minutes to go. Andre Wisdom comes across to take a throw-in on the right-hand side. finds Mason Bennett, who does well, gets a cross in. It came off foot of Tom Lawrence, I think, in the end. Goes out of play for a goal kick. Looking at the general sort of display from Derby County and Frank Lampard's side, and you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to play passing football. They look to attack relatively quickly. I think there's been lots of positives really from this evening so far, but on the flip side, I'm sure there's going to be quite a lot that he'll be looking to work on in training, and perhaps look at it in the window. We'll come back to that in a second, because there's a bit of a coming together here between players holding onto each other's shirts. Mo Barrow and Craig Bryson, and two of them getting pretty close. I think it was a coming together between Matey and Bradley Johnson initially. I'm not sure whether there's claims of whether there was an elbow involved or what. The referee's called the two players over, as both Reading and Derby players are still clashing. The referee's going to have a word here with the two of them. Neither of them particularly want to listen to the referee. He's just looking at his watch, maybe suggesting there's a few minutes to go, keep yourselves calm. He is going to pull the yellow card out. He's booked Bradley Johnson and he's booked Yaku Mata. So it's more yellow cards going on in this game that's been littered with them, as we see a replay of what actually happened. So Mata does jump in. There is a forearm into the face of Bradley Johnson, who went down holding his face. Mata then has words. The two of them then sort of forehead to forehead before the players jumped in. I think Mata's reaction was perhaps unwarranted, because it was a poor challenge from him. He did lead with his forearm. Bradley Johnson didn't seem to do too much wrong, really, but you can understand why the referee got his yellow card out.
Yeah, certainly so. I think it was a little bit silly from Yaku Mata. I don't think it was really violent. It was more just a palm of the hand in the face of Bradley Johnson, but it's very silly to do when in modern football any sort of contact with the hand to the head can result in a red card. But then the reaction after that was perhaps a little bit over the top from both players, and I think it's the correct decision from the referee to book both players but not send them off.
Well, before we were interrupted by a coming together on the pitch, I was going to ask you about your reaction to this performance from Frank Lampard. He seems to have laid out the stones in the right way. He set his precedent, as it were. There's still a lot to work on.
Yeah, definitely so. I think he will have been unhappy with how they played in the first half, as Reading put a ball into the box. Still come again.
Yeah, it's ball in this time from Mo Barrow. It is hooked away. Potential shot here from Andy Yeardham goes well over the crossbar. Maybe we'll get your opinion this time, Dan.
After that ridiculous effort from Andy Yeardham, I've no idea why he elected to shoot from that far out. But yeah, I think the first half, Frank Lampard won't have been too happy with what he saw. In the second half, there has been a lot more intent for them. They've been able to use the wide players and kind of create more and get more into the areas that they want to hurt Reading. And I'm in agreement. You can quite clearly see the method of football that Lampard does want to play out. I think they're a centre-half line, and judging from the game today, I think they might need another central midfielder as well, someone that can really kind of dictate play and knit things together, because Joe Ledley and Craig Bryson are good battlers in the middle. Bradley Johnson can get a goal. They just need another maybe technician to play alongside Mason Mount to really be on the same wavelength as those attacking players.
We've just ticked into added on time. At the end of this game, 4 minutes will be added on. Reading 1, Derby 1. Keogh's ball forward is dealt with by Yeardham. He seemed to have a feel of his hamstring there. Fleetingly, a foul has been given against Mate, who isn't happy at all here with the fact that I think a Derby player seemed to kick the ball into him after the foul had been given against him. He's not happy at all. The referee just telling him to calm down. If we look at the other side of the coin, rather than looking at Frank Lampard and Derby for a second, Reading had a very good first half. They made it very, very difficult for Derby, got themselves that goal, and it was really after the goal went against them, after they conceded, they seemed to go off the boil, and it was kind of the same Reading side that we saw for the vast majority of last season, it seemed.
Yeah, I think that there is promise from Reading, from what we saw, particularly in the first half, but I think there are a couple of players light as well as Derby come forward, but that's a poor shot over the bar. I think if Reading don't add to this squad, and if no one leaves, it does look to me like a mid-table squad. I mean, it's very early to say that. but I think going forward, they might lack a little bit of ruthlessness up there. If they can get Sam Baldock scoring goals, then they've got a very good centre forward at this level. John Swift is a really good attacking player, although he has been withdrawn. You never quite know about the consistency of Mo Barrow and Sonny Aluko, and can Bob Varson get the goals? There's a few questions to be asked. They have looked largely solid defensively, I think, unlike Derby, who've made mistakes. Paul McShane's a good player at this level. Ilori's young, but he can learn off him. The fullbacks have looked pretty assured. Not too bad from Reading, I don't think.
We do have 2 minutes still to play, incidentally. There's nothing particularly happening. A few long balls here and there, but Derby come away with it inside the Reading half. Mason Bennett looking to stretch the legs of the Reading defenders. It's a good challenge from Thiago Iori. Came across to cover his fullback Omar Richards and does just about enough, but it's Derby that are looking to finish in the ascendancy here. Wisdom throws the ball into Bryson, returns it back to him. Now a little bit of space perhaps for Harry Wilson, who goes down under the challenge. I think it was Liam Kelly who stuck a leg out, won the ball though, and it is hooked away by Reading. I'm surprised that Derby didn't look to bring Joseph Zoon on at all, really, Florian Joseph Zoon, because he may well have stretched the Reading defence that little bit more, but Reading are looking to come forward themselves here. Potentially still a goal in this game. It's Bakuna, who we've not mentioned really since coming on. Flashes the ball out to the left-hand side of Mo Barrow. We'll look to try and commit up against Andre Wisdom. Couple of step-overs. Dinks a decent delivery in towards the penalty spot. Headed away, only as far as Liam Kelly, 35 yards out. Now Richards drills the ball back into the feet of Kelly, who returns it back to his full-back. Just looks to spin away from Bryce and does well and finds Kelly in a pocket of space. His attempted ball through, though, just not on the same wavelength as Yaku Meta. And he runs through into the arms of the goalkeeper. And that probably, with 40 seconds or so to go, is the last chance we'll see this evening.
Yeah, I think you can see from a ball like that Liam Kelly's someone that can create, and he does look up to space and tries to play players in. As I mentioned, just do the other attackers have it in them. I am surprised Joseph Zoon's not come on. I can only think that maybe there's a fitness concern with pre-season coming in a little bit later. But still, I think 15 minutes, any player can manage that. Oh, and Derby have got a late winner as it's headed in by Tom Lawrence with 10 seconds to go. Cross in from the right-hand side, and Lawrence has absolutely buried that header.
Wowzers, what a ball that is from Mason Bennett. Full credit where credit's due. It's an unbelievable header as well from Lawrence. It was a break down the right-hand side out of absolutely nothing. Wonderful delivery in from Mason Bennett, and a perfect header from Tom Lawrence into the corner. Reading will feel so hard done to. Derby have won it.
It could be a dream start for Frank Lampard at Derby if they've got a late winner. Just a simple attack down the right-hand side. It looked like it was coming to nothing, but Mason Bennett, who's looked really lively since coming on off the bench, put a lovely ball into the box. But Tom Lawrence with the header, he had to do a lot of work still, but he somehow managed to angle it into the top corner. A wonderful header from the Welshman, straight past Vito Manone. Derby look to have won it. It's 2-1.
No chance for the goalkeeper as well. The more replays we see, independent off-tube studio commentary, of course, the better that header looks. And Frank Lampard, first time we've really seen him celebrating, dived upon by his coaching staff, Jody Morris, Shay Gibbon also in there. Frank Lampard, delighted. Tom Lawrence, incidentally, is sat off the pitch, just behind the Reading goal, struggling with cramp, so Derby may well have to finish the game with 10 men. They're calling for perhaps a substitute to be made. Whether they will have time to do it or not, I don't know. But for Reading, it's a real sucker punch. They've defended brilliantly in the second half. Derby have been the better side. They have tested, they have prompted, they have probed, but perhaps haven't deserved to get the winner that they've got.
No, but what a great sign that is if you don't play well and you can still nick 3 points. And well, you can see from the celebrations there as it's Tom Lawrence off, centre half Alex Pearce on. They know what they're going to do for the remaining few seconds in this game, whatever we've got left of it, as that is the full-time whistle. And in Frank Lampard's first ever game as a manager, he's won. It's finished. Reading 1, Derby 2.
Right, so full-time 2 on Derby. Thanks for watching the stream. I will be doing more streams tomorrow. Sunderland v Charlton. And then at 3 PM I'll be doing commentary for like all the EFL games like League 1, League 2 and championship, and then I think there's a 5:30 kickoff. Maybe, I don't know, but if there is, I will do a stream there. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, turn on notifications so you get notified when I am streaming, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow.